So I went to town, got the engine mounts here. And on the way back, I've just been curious to kick the Rambler down into passing gear and let her run a little. A couple of places, straight spots on the road, I got her up to somewhere between 85 and 90 miles an hour. She actually felt pretty comfortable. I mean, I know when I get above 60, there's a little bit of wobble in the front tire, a little. But, at that speed, she didn't feel at all uncomfortable or unstable. It didn't feel bad at all, so I felt really good about that. I got a bunch of stuff back from Tod when he brought this engine back, and I also got some new stuff, like there's a new water pump right there. These valve covers, he said, I just brought them because you might want to cut them up to make half valve covers to adjust your valves with. Kind of seems a shame to cut up a new shiny one like that, so I may see if I can find somebody who wants to trade me an old rusty one instead. Let's see who's messaging me here. So where was I? Yeah, so I got a bunch of extra parts, including those shiny chrome valve covers. I might put a quick little ad up on Marketplace and just see if anybody would like to have those and be willing to swap me some regular Chevy valve covers rather than cut those up. But one of the treasures, Tod bought a lot of stuff for this engine. New cam, set of fuelie heads and all that. But one of the coolest things is he bought a set of engine bolts. And they're all like, here's header bolts, intake manifold, oil pan, coil bracket, distributor, fan pulley, crank pulley. Man, it's just a ton of bolts that I'm going to need, which is totally awesome. So I really appreciate that. The bolts I don't have are, these are crank pulley bolts, and I need the bolts that go in the flex plate or the flywheel. And I also need to, I want to get that flywheel on here, which I think is going to mean taking this engine bracket off, because I can't get it up in between the engine and the back of that. And I could just set this engine, I think it might fit on there. Right now, between that end of the crank right here and this bolt, I can't slip it in there. But once I had it on there, I might be able to turn it over with this on it. I'm looking at how to mount this onto here, and I measured on the Rambler. It's 9 inches from here to the radiator. This radiator is kind of flopping about, but I think if it was pulled up straight, that'd be about 9 inches. And I'm thinking, well, this is some heavy metal, seriously heavy metal right here. So I could come back with a mount and come right up here to my engine mount. I was trying some of these bolts to see what the thread is. I don't actually have any bolts that are designated as engine mount bolts, but there is an extra set of exhaust manifold bolts, and I believe, and there's a set of exhaust manifold bolts already on there, so I believe those would work. Like if I set this right here, let me see if I can set y'all where you can maybe see me. What about down here? Yeah, I'll put it down here, point you up toward that. So it looks like I could pull one of these exhaust manifold bolts out, put it right into here, and that would fit. Let's try that. And these are those little Allen head screw bolts. I kind of like that. They're kind of cool looking. I could put a washer under each one, but for the moment, see, that it seems like those would be just about perfect for that. Pretty sure this is going to fit. Generally, a Chevrolet engine mount is going to fit all all the Chevrolet engines except for, you know, they're not all 67 Chevrolet engines, which is what I'd be most comfortable with. They go, and they did change, and they did come out with different engines and stuff over time. So maybe what I'll do is go ahead and get me some washers and put them on there for good, and then it may kind of easy to come back with make a piece for that, and then later I'll address that back there. Yeah, and actually I could probably just borrow some washers out of here. Yeah, just find some washers. I might have some over in Eric Colson's box of washers too. So, and I love the idea of being able to make a little progress here. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So I did find a bunch of lock washers over in the Eric Colson washer bin. It'll work, I believe, just fine on here. And I'm just going to go ahead and slip that in, and then later I'll get, in a few minutes, I'll get me an Allen wrench socket. Snug them up good. This will definitely give me something that'll be fun to play with. Yes, it will. By the way, I went to the parts store. The guy told me when I called up there last night about these brackets that they'd be in last night at like 8 o'clock. I got there today and they weren't there, and I said, well, you know, the guy last night said they'd be in last night, and she said, yeah. She said trucks running late because of the storms. Now, I hadn't even thought about that, but you know, people out in Texas, they are having some serious winter weather, snowstorms, power failures, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I was just thinking, well, I'll be praying for them folks, because that's serious life-threatening stuff. You know, up in Maine, people tend to have all kinds of alternative heat sources. And one of the things you tend to want to have is a heat source that's not dependent on electricity, because if the electricity fails, you don't want to lose your heat. So we've got wood stove and fuel oil and propane and heat pump, which is electric. So you know, we got 4 different kinds of heat sources up there. But we expect it to be cold all the time. I mean, every winter we expect to be, you know, it could be disastrously cold, and we're prepared for it. People out in Texas, not so much, not nearly so much. So, you know, for them, it's a tough time for them. You know, just saying. Just thought I'd mention that. Pray for Texas. Of course, by the time y'all see this, that'll probably be over out there. But still, thought I'd mention them. I got friends out there. Dan Resto Dan, he's out there. And I got other friends, sure, out in Texas, YouTube friends and stuff. So, keeping them in mind while we're figuring out what to do about different things. Let's do that other side, and then what I might do is go ahead and take this off, put that flywheel back on there. I need a flywheel bolt, but if I had this off of here, it'd make it a lot easier to get to the flywheel and figure out what I'm gonna need for a bolt for that. But I'll go ahead and put that other motor mount on the other side. I might want to raise that by 2 or 3 hairs. I was looking at the, just trying to figure out the height of this, and this hose here on the car comes out to about right here. The hose for the water pump, and that would be right there. But also, you know, if you're working on an engine, and you got it at a comfortable height, that's pretty comfortable right there. carburetor might be sitting a little high here. That's okay. We don't want the intake manifold to be over on top of here. I think we're okay with that though. Go back there. I might try loosening up the bolts on this to see if I can slip that flywheel in there. Or maybe if I don't want to take it off altogether. Let me get a 9/16 wrench maybe after that.